Well, Arthur, the points are shared. Do you feel like that's an accurate reflection of the cut and thrust of the game, or do you feel like your side deserved more?
Yeah, maybe if you look at the chances in the match, I think we probably deserve more out of that. We've missed maybe 2 or 3 really good chances in that second half. Take the point, absolutely, but yeah, I think we're good to get all 3 tonight, but it wasn't to be.
Notable in this game that you finished the game with a completely different front five than when you started with. It looked like maybe Dennis was an unplanned sub, but was that always the plan for the others, to change out your complete attack as the game went on?
Well, it was always interesting to see how they'd back up off a short turnaround. So, you know, we had a big match last week, which takes a lot out of you, and you're up for another derby, which you've got to be physically and mentally ready for. And it was important that we'd see how the players would react and respond physically. And there were some tired bodies out there, and a couple of subs were probably forced with minor little injuries. So, and one or two is to avoid injury. So, yeah, in the end, there's plenty of firepower to come on off that bench. So, it's no problem for me having to change the whole front line and having the same expectation and demand of them that of the players that have started as well. So, in the end, they tried. We threw everything at them in the end, and yeah, couldn't get that second one.
What's the injury to Denny, and I guess how worried are you about it?
We'll see tomorrow. He's just felt something in his quad, so yeah, we'll get him checked out tomorrow. Didn't want to keep him on longer because you don't want to put him at further risk. So yeah, that's Denny, and yeah, we'll see tomorrow how he backs up, and yeah, we'll get scans on him and see. Hopefully, it's nothing.
You mentioned 1 or 2 injuries. Who else came off hurt?
Yeah, one was sore as well. He's carried a knock all week from last week, so yeah, it was important that, again, we managed him and did the right thing, like we always do about all our players. Their health and well-being always comes first. And in the end, we got enough players on that pitch of quality at the end of the match to keep going and get a result. So it doesn't matter who comes on. The players that come off, the players that come on are there to do a fantastic job and are capable. And in the end, they did give us a good little boost, and they had some great chances. And in the end, we just couldn't put them away.
Just you mentioned one there. Is it one that you've got any concerns about for next week, or is it just a minutes management sort of thing?
Yeah, no concerns for next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't want it to be a concern, so sometimes we've got to be on the cautious side.
And just on one, another assist from him tonight. He's already got 10 for the season. Kind of running out of things to say about him, aren't we?
Yeah, he was good again tonight. He was good. You know, he was dangerous, always a threat, always working hard, and yeah, like I said earlier as well, everyone around him's got to stand up as well. You can't sit there and wait for him. You know, he's got a role to play. We have big expectations and demands, but I do that of the other players as well. And you know, there's a lot of quality out there that all have to contribute every week. And you know, I want to see different players standing up each week and leading us and putting us in the direction where we want to go and being the difference as well.
It was a nice finish from Keegan, wasn't it? Quite cool and calm, the way he finished it off.
Yeah, Keegan took that well. That's his 5th of the season, which is fantastic for him as well. And he's probably had 1 or 2 that he probably could have had another goal for sure in that match, and he's probably going to be kicking himself that he's not on the score sheet again. But in the end, you've got to be in the position to score first and foremost, and he's that. He's working hard. He's putting himself in positions to score, and you know, he's getting some good outcomes.
Do you feel like, and it's now 4 games unbeaten now, do you just sort of feel like you're building some nice momentum heading into the business end of the season? Yeah,
it's something that we're constantly talking about. Keep building, keep picking up points, and you know, we're getting closer and closer to the end there, and the most important thing is we stay as close as we can to the top of the table, and that's all we look forward to every week. We look up there and we say, okay, we're still in this, we've got to keep going. And in the end, tonight's going to be a vital point. You know, we can be upset that maybe we don't win the match, but I think it's going to be a really, really important point for us moving forward.
From the coaching perspective, Arthur, it just felt like at times that you probably didn't have as much control through the middle part of the ground with your skill execution tonight, and that was due to the amount of pressure that they applied. Was that something that probably frustrated you at times, where you needed to get on the move a bit more late in the game?
Look, they're a team that's quite man-to-man there, so we always had an overload to come out of the back with the ball. We just had to be a little bit better in terms of our decision-making once we beat the first line. Because you saw, we constantly Seba was a free man getting into the opponent's half, and sometimes, you know, decision-making might have let him down, or maybe the execution, but more so for me was probably the decision-making at times. Sometimes we forced things that we didn't need to force. But in the end, I thought we're constantly getting into their half pretty easily. But once we got there, we had to be a little bit better.
Some of the key messaging over the next week. Got a big game next week against the big blue game, the return match. How do you get through this week and build that up once again? Because to come off a couple of big games over previous weeks, you've got to go back into another one on the road. Yeah,
it's a challenge to us. It's a big challenge in front of us. We have to recover from this because it was a short turnaround. We've got a nice 8-day turnaround now, so there's going to be a few bruised and battered bodies there that need those extra couple of days to recover, which is timely for us. And again, we'll do everything we can and make sure we do everything correct, that we turn up next week ready for another derby. It's a third one in a row, and in the end, it's also a privilege that you play in these matches, and we've got to be ready for that.
When you're talking about decision making, are you talking because as you said, you're able to get the ball forward a lot, especially as the game became stretched in the final few exchanges. But decision making, you're talking about once the ball gets in the penalty area, maybe Matt got in Nish's way on one of those chances. Those are the moments you're talking about.
Oh, there was some even prior to getting into the area. There was a couple opportunities there in that second half where I think the one you're talking about there, Grimmer's turn to shoot when Nish is running on, and he's got a free shot at goal. Maybe he doesn't know Nish is there. And that's unfortunate, but Grimmer's had another great chance later on. Charles had a couple of good chances as well in that match. If we look back at that match, you'll probably see that we've had probably 5 or 6 fantastic chances where we should score.
Just you mentioned the 3 big games in a row. Sydney, one, it's a chance to work your way up the table before finals, but also how getting these 3 games against big competitive teams, how important is that when you get to the pointy end, assuming you make finals, in terms of that battle hardening, I guess?
Yeah, that's something that probably we face more than many other clubs out there, the fact that we have so many derbies. But that's the privilege of playing for this club as well, and that comes at a cost. The cost is you're expected, to have 6, 7, 8 derbies a season, not just 2 or 3 like most clubs would. So in the end, that's something that prepares you. Once you get there, the back end of the season, you're match hardened for those conditions as well, for those big games, and you've got to get through them. And the most important thing is now it's the 3rd one in a row, and physically you got to recover, but psychologically and mentally you got to recover and drop a little bit, refocus, and then get up for it again next week. And that's also going to be another challenge for us that we just have to overcome and be ready for.
You referred to the depth earlier. How much of a luxury is it for you when you can bring on guys like Piscopo and Grimaldi who come on and just bring energy and just seem to make things happen almost instantaneously?
Yeah, that's something we've worked hard to get everyone fit in the park, and we've been very, very astute with our signings to make sure we put together a squad that's capable of having success, and that's they're part of us being a really strong competitive team. And you forgot Santos as well that comes off the bench there as well, and Nikos Virgos comes off the bench. So in the end, it's competition for places. The most important thing is to keep everyone as healthy as possible, so those competitions remain week in, week out. And when you have that, you've got that natural motivation as a footballer that you have to be at the top of your game every day, and that's what competition for places brings.
Any other concerns outside of Juan and Dennis?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, but I'll speak to the medical staff now, and they'll have tomorrow off, and then we'll recover on Sunday.